You're watching India Today Global. I am Pranay Upadhyay, and world is looking at yet another conflict, which is building close to India, and that is between Thailand and Cambodia. What this tension is and how a phone call with some casual remark can cost a prime minister her office and her job. We are going to discuss this issue with a former Indian ambassador to Thailand and a very experienced Indian diplomat, Ambassador Anil Wadhwa. Sir, welcome to India Today Global.
Thank you.
So my first question would be, we are talking at a time when recently this news has come in that the Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra has been suspended by the Constitutional Court of Thailand amid the controversy around her phone call and the leaked phone call of 15 June where she addressed, she made some casual remark while she was talking with the Cambodian leader Hun Sen. How are you looking at this thing, and how are you looking at the building and rising tension between Thailand and Cambodia?
So I think we have to look at it from the lens of the struggle that has been going on in Thailand since the beginning of this century. Since 2001, in fact, there's been a struggle for power between the conservatives, on the one hand, who are backed by the royalty and the military, and on the other hand, by the populist parties, of which Pheu Thai Party is the most important. Over the years, Thaksin Shinawatra built up a constituency starting from the rural areas and countryside in Thailand, where he empowered the people living there at the expense of the royalty, and which were basically urban-based and not in touch with the reality in the countryside. Pheu Thai, of course, was not the primary party which won the last elections. But on the other hand, there was yet another populist party which emerged because of the fact that Thaksin Shinawatra and then later on his sister Yingluck Shinawatra, who toured India. By the way, he was the chief guest for our Republic Day in 2015. They actually lost some credibility because of corruption issues. And therefore, there was the opposition was led by the Move Forward Party, which was banned because they were not able to convince the conservative side of their intentions. So they metamorphosed themselves into the People's Party. But at the same time, the Pheu Thai then did a sort of political coup, and they formed a coalition government with as many as more than a dozen parties. As a result of what has happened between Thailand and Cambodia now, and this, by the way, is an ongoing struggle ever since the border demarcation took place in 1907 when France was a colonial power in Cambodia. These skirmishes have been ongoing with Cambodia. As long as Hun Sen was there, as long as Thaksin was there was relative peace because they could accommodate each other. Thereafter, there have been instances of skirmishes, and the Priya Vihar, award by the International
Court of Justice.
Court of Justice was actually the last straw. Thereafter, we've had these tensions which are ongoing. And therefore, at the moment, what has happened is that because Paetongtarn Shinawatra has lost her popularity because of this leaked telephonic conversation, which Hun Sen actually has made public, and therefore the Constitutional Court, which is actually acting normally on behalf of the conservatives.
It's a very interesting case, Ambassador Wadhwa, because normally a phone call between the two leaders is normally it's kept secret in terms of their recordings are not leaked, their transcripts are not made public. But in this case, the call was not only leaked, but whatever she said, there was a controversy around, and then obviously you mentioned about the nitty-gritty of the Thailand Thai politics. So clearly, do you see a reason or some ground for a considered sabotage against Paetongtarn Shinawatra?
I would think so, because Hun Sen actually had shared the record of this conversation with 18 or 20 other members of parliament in Cambodia, and of course there are strong linkages between the parliamentarians in both countries. So obviously, someone from the conservative side has reached out to one of those who were privy to this conversation and leaked the conversation much more widely. Once that happened, and Hun Sen had no choice but to post it on his Facebook account. And unfortunately, that is now blown up because the Constitutional Court has got a reason to act. And the Bhumjai Thai party, which is also a conservative party, which is part of the coalition, pulled out, and 36 of its MPs went to the Constitutional Court. So it has acted in great haste, I would say, to actually suspend her. And while these proceedings are on, which may last for about a month or so, Thailand obviously is in a political crisis.
Thailand is in a political crisis, definitely, sir. You rightly pointed it out. But, Prime Minister Shinawatra mentioned in her social media post that she has around 15 days to respond, and the Constitutional Court, will give her an opportunity to present her case as well. But coming back to the border tension issue, you mentioned about Prey Vihar. Prey Vihar has, some India angle as well, because the Archaeological Survey of India helped in conservation of the Prey Vihar. Can you elaborate more on this thing and the India linkages of that area?
So I think Priya Vihar has been contested between Thailand and Cambodia for a very long time. Cambodia, of course, saw merit in going to the international court, primarily because they felt that the way the demarcation has been done between the two countries, this fell in their jurisdiction. And sure enough, they were proven right because of the geographical indicators and the boundaries as they were drawn up by the colonial power, which was France. The court has ruled in their favor. There is some amount of ambiguity on the surrounding areas, whether those belong to Thailand or they belong to Cambodia, and so the dispute is around that. Plus also the border area, which, according to Cambodia, it has a watertight case of those of especially one village which houses some very ancient temples, and it is bent upon going to the international court. Thailand so far has resisted that. It has tried to cajole and to coax Cambodia to keep it strictly bilateral because they fear perhaps that they would lose those territories, and therefore the psychologically the population would be quite upset if these old temples could be awarded to Cambodia. Now, normally there is peace, but once in a while, because of the concentration of troops in that area, which is heavily wooded, and also there's a lot of foliage there. Because of that, there are misunderstandings of trespassing, and then the army occasionally shoots at each other. So this is what happened in this particular incident, where one Cambodian sergeant was killed. And thereafter, the Thai Prime Minister tried to cool things down by speaking to Hun Sen, who is now in charge of the Senate in Cambodia. But of course, people have taken umbrage to the fact that she called him uncle, that she also tried to quieten him down by saying that because we are on the opposite sides, and obviously the army has to be on the Thai side. So, in a way, people have been misled into thinking that she sold out the country, whereas actually she tried to explain that she was trying to solve the problem.
But Ambassador Wadhwa, as you mentioned that, Thaksin Shinawatra and Hun Sen had a good working relationship, and that's why they managed their relationship, the border disputes very well. And it is quite obvious that Thaksin Shinawatra's daughter, Paetongton Shinawatra, if she addresses Hun Sen in a phone call as uncle, how does it impact the Thai interest, or is it the nationalistic sentiment in Thailand at a time when they are having border disputes with Cambodia that has been blown out of proportion? How do you see this thing? And or do you see the problem of a young leader, her lexicon, her semantics are not that apt with the traditional politician and the way they should behave and carry the responsibility?
So I see personally nothing wrong in the way she tried to solve the problem. And if she addressed Hun Sen as uncle, given the fact of the relationship between her father, Thaksin, and Hun Sen, I think it was pretty apt to do that. The objection, of course, is to the fact that she tried to play down the role of the army general who is posted in that area. And people have taken that to mean that she is not patriotic enough. And secondly, Hun Sen, on his part, also very surprisingly, has said that she is not the kind of person who will be able to solve this problem between Cambodia and Thailand. So that has added fuel to the fire. There have been demonstrations, which are, of course, backed by the royalists and the nationalists. And these are called the yellow shirts, by the way, in Thailand. And they are on the side of the royalists, which doesn't want Pheu Thai party or the other parties to be in similar minded parties to be in power.
Ambassador Wadhwa, you also mentioned that like for quite some time, Thai politics is undergoing a turbulent phase. The political instability is there in Thailand for quite some time because the stability of government is in question. There have been many, many prime ministers who could not complete their full term. At the time, since we have good relation with Thailand, we have some trilateral and bilateral projects with Thailand. Do you see any uncertainty vis-a-vis our projects, our infrastructure projects? Like for example, the Kaladan multimodal project is long awaited its completion because we have a problem in Myanmar and now we have problem in Thailand as well.
Yes, so the project which will be most affected, of course, is the trilateral highway. But I would think that at the moment it has got bogged down more because of the problems in Myanmar rather than in Thailand. Overall, of course, if there is any big project which is ongoing in Thailand, obviously because of the uncertainty and the political uncertainty, it does get affected. But from my own experience, I've seen that the Thais are very pragmatic people. And when it comes to business and investments, that does not stop. The businesses keep running because they've seen so much of instability starting from the 90s, periods of military rule, and after that, so many governments have come and gone that they've got used to this kind of an uncertain situation. Also, coupled with that is the fact that there is this less majesty law still prevalent in Thailand. So any political opponent who makes any remark, for example, in this case, Patentong's father Thaksin is now facing trial in the court for remarks that he made in 2015 in an interview to a South Korean newspaper. And so old cases can be dug up under the less majesty law, and that causes its own uncertainties. And therefore, it's very important that people are careful in what they say and how they conduct themselves.
You're absolutely right. And since we have Ambassador Anil Wadhwa, who has served in Thailand as India's ambassador, and also he has served as Secretary East in the Ministry of External Affairs. And we would like to know from you, sir, that how are you looking at the 5-nation tour of Prime Minister Narendra Modi? Because Prime Minister Narendra Modi would be embarking upon a long foreign tour. He will be traveling to 2 continents and 5 countries. What are the broad areas of this foreign trip of Prime Minister you are looking at?
So I think we have to look at it from 2 different perspectives, which sort of converge with each other in this case. One is that the Prime Minister always looks for opportunities to plug in the gaps where we haven't had a high level or an important visit for a while. And that is the case with many of these countries. For example, Namibia and Trinidad and Tobago are important countries from the perspective of India. They are countries full of potential. In the sky is the limit as to what you can do by way of bilateral relationships. They deserve a prime ministerial visit, which has not happened for a while. And similarly, of course, the visit to Brazil is there because of the summit, the BRICS Summit, but at the same time, the Prime Minister using this opportunity to cement this relationship bilaterally with Brazil, which is a very important country with whom India works in the United Nations, bilaterally and elsewhere. Again, full of potential and promise. And Argentina, with whom our relationship has really blossomed over the past years or so, and it's become a strategic partnership. And so I would say that all these countries have been carefully chosen. They've been chosen also from the perspective that India needs to work very closely with Africa in the future. Africa is a very promising continent for India. Africa looks up to India as a leader of the global south, and India needs to be on the right side and enter at the right time in countries in Africa by way of trade and investments. So Namibia becomes very important from that perspective again. So these are the underlying thoughts, and I think as India transitions also from our conventional economy to an e-economy, or the transition which India is going through at the moment, it requires a number of resources. So India is scouting around the world for partnerships in that respect, and these countries very important from that perspective also.
Definitely, these countries are important. But, sir, one important aspect which I have picked up from yesterday's press conference by the Ministry of External Affairs, that rare earth metal and the business collaboration, the mining rights and mining collaboration in this area also is an important agenda for Prime Minister's visit, especially in Ghana, in Argentina, and Namibia. How are we looking at the prospects for the the Indian venture Kabil and the rare earth metal and mining prospects, because everyone is running for having rare earth metal and the mining rights in that regard?
You're absolutely right, and I think the Ministry of External Affairs has got the right perspective on this, because all these countries, we also have the rare earth angle, and the fact that these countries are those which lay a lot of emphasis, and they have a lot of promise as far as mining is concerned. What is needed here in many of these countries is investments, and how the reason why Indian companies have been active already in these countries is because they have decided to invest and to use the resources for India as well as for the local markets wherever it's feasible. But most importantly, the fact that rare earths and the new age metals become important going into the new industries in future, the importance of these countries obviously has gone up. India is not confined to just these countries, by the way. It is also looking at countries like Australia, which is in our own Asian continent. But at the same time, one has to be aware that there is an importance which comes with having a diversified relationships in this respect, because all your eggs cannot be in one basket. And from that perspective, a long-term partnership with these countries, investments in these countries, and a business-to-business relationship with these countries will stand India in good stead as its economy transits.
You rightly summed it up, sir, that all the eggs cannot be put in one basket, and this visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi is coming at a time when our foreign minister is in US for the Quad foreign ministers meeting, and he will be joining Prime Minister's entourage later after this Quad foreign ministers meeting. So on one side we are trying to balance Quad, on the other side we are engaging with the BRICS. How do we see how we would be able to balance these different blocks and the multipolarity of the global affairs?
So I think that's a good question, but I would like to answer this just by focusing on the fact that if you look at India's trajectory and the way India has conducted its foreign policy in the past and in the present, it's always acted on strategic autonomy. Also, the fact that India has not gone into taking sides, it's not part of any bloc, it's consciously done that. And because of that, India is one of those countries, very rare, in fact, in the world today, which can actually straddle a number of worlds, if you can call them that. It is equally acceptable for India to be in the Quad, equally acceptable to be in the SCO, equally acceptable to be in the BRICS, and work with multiple partners. And I think the world has come to realize that India is one of those countries with whom business can be done, because we are not one of those countries which actually take a line as a strategic or an ally of any other country. We take to issues and solve them on a case-by-case basis. We take our stand based on what the issue at hand is, and that I think is something which has stood us in good stead. And in this case, again, you see, you just mentioned the Quad meeting, and now the Prime Minister will be there for the BRICS meeting. So India has no problems in doing that, and I think India has got a certain acceptability all around the world because of this attitude.
And that is the depth of Indian diplomacy, sir. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and giving us the perspective and helping our viewers understand the complexity of Thailand-Cambodia conflict, and also giving us an overview about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's forthcoming foreign visit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.